Hi, this is Phyllis, and welcome back to Make Jewelry with me. And today's project is going to be my diamond crystal raw bracelet, raw, R-A-W, meaning right angle weave. Thanks for hanging out with me. I've been using the same materials so that I can show you how versatile right angle weave is. So many things, so many different projects you can do with it. So if you'd like to make this project, hang around with me, and we'll get the materials list going, and we'll get started. All right. For today's project, I will be using the 6mm bugle beads that I have here, my red label beads that I got from Michaels. And by the way, they are not sponsoring me. I paid good American dollars for these supplies. Also my 2x3mm crystals. They are so pretty in the champagne color. The amber color. And I'm gonna use the my Mayuki Duracoat galvanized size 11-0 seed beads, and they are in the champagne color. I will be using this 14 karat gold plated lobster claw. It has an extender chain on it, but I'm not going to use the extender chain from it. And I'll show you how we're gonna take care of that when it's time. I'm gonna use an 8mm jump ring, and this is the soldered one. It doesn't need to be opened because I don't need the pliers to open it because it's already soldered. 2 wire guardians. We're gonna go back to using 2 needles for our project. We're gonna use our measuring tape or a ruler. Last time I called this a ruler. I know this is a measuring tape. We're going to be using our measuring tape or a ruler if you don't have one. Of course, my bead board, my 6-pound fire line in the crystal color, my nippers, my flat nose pliers for flattening the ends of my thread, as well as using them to open up the jump rings from this lobster claw, and the chain nose pliers for opening the jump rings. So I'm going to cut my beads apart and we'll get started. I'm going to show you how to, just in case you have one of these lobster clasps that have a chain on them, I'm just going to show you real quickly how to remove the chain. These chains are attached to the lobster claw by a jump ring. That's about a 4mm jump ring. What you're going to do is find the opening. Now this is a regular jump ring because it has you can open it. The one that we're using for the clasp is soldered, and it does not have an opening, so that's why the difference between a soldered and a regular open jump ring. So in order to work with jump rings, if you're going to be doing chainmail or just simple jewelry projects like I'm doing, you grab your jump ring on each side of the split, and what you do is you twist the jump ring back and forth. You don't want to pull the jump ring apart because that will weaken it. It compromises the integrity of the jump ring and it will break. And then you just remove your chain or remove the entire thing. I'm removing the entire thing because I'm not even going to use this jump ring because I'm using wire guardians. Just put that down, and then you put your pliers back on and you twist your jump ring back together, and just go back and forth until you have it even, just like that, and set that aside. And now I have strung my needles with 5 feet of beading thread, and just like I always do when I do a 2-needle project, I attach the clasp first. So I'm going to do that by stringing on the wire guardian, pass my needles through both holes of that guardian, and pull my threads, even them up, pull the threads, and just pull the guardian down to the end of the threads. And I'm just going to take my lobster clasp and slide it onto either needle, and let it fall down into the groove of that wire guardian. And once there, I just pinch it closed. Then I'm going to string on a seed bead on each needle, and I'm going to pick up a crystal on either needle and cross my threads through the crystal, and pull. While we're here, I'm just going to take one of my needles, and I'm going to reinforce this connection by passing back up through one of the seed beads and the first hole of that wire guardian, and around and through the lobster claw, and down into the second hole of that wire guardian and the seed bead on that side. Pull my thread and back through this crystal. Now I know that makes my threads uneven, but that'll be okay, because once we get down to the other end, we could do that. Use the shorter thread to reinforce the connection at the other end. So this is our clasp connection, and how we're going to remove the seed beads out of the way, because we won't need them until we get to the other end. And what we're going to do is a simple repetitive pattern. We're going to string on a bugle bead on each needle, a crystal on each needle, a bugle bead on each needle, and we're going to pull these down. And so when we pull them down, you can see exactly where we are. The diamond is going to set itself up as long as you have this set up right here. You're going to have 3 crystals and 4 bugle beads, and that's going to be on each side, two bugles and 1 crystal on each side of that center crystal where we attach the clasp. Then once here, you're going to string on a crystal on either needle, and you're going to cross your threads. You're going to cross those threads through the crystal and pull, and it sets itself up. And you're going to have your diamond. we are going to be doing some reinforcing, so this this shape is going to solidify. All right, so let us continue. Repetitive. You can do this at the same time on each needle, or you can do one needle at a time. You need a bugle bead, a crystal, and a bugle bead on each needle. A bugle bead, a crystal, and a bugle bead. I'm pretty right-handed, so it's going to take me a minute. Then on either needle, you string on a crystal, pull that crystal right off that needle and pass your other needle going through it in the opposite direction, and pull your threads. Let me get these out of the way. This simple pattern. You make your diamond crystals with those bugle beads. All right, let's continue. On each needle, you need a bugle, a crystal, and a bugle, a crystal, and a bugle. And then on either needle, you're going to use for crossing. You string on your crystal, pull it right off your needle, and cross through the other side. And you can get the length of your bracelet done in about 10 minutes. And you keep going, and I'm going to go off camera, and we'll be back in a minute to show you how to finish it off. I completed stringing the length of my bracelet, and I usually like to wear a 7 1/4 inch bracelet because the bracelet can have movement on my wrist. I've gone this far, and now, as you can see, down at this end, I don't have a diamond. It's just kind of stretched out, but we're going to fix that, because we're going to go back through and we're going to reinforce this whole bracelet. That's the reason why we have the thread amount of thread that we have and on the bracelet. But right now, I'm not gonna make you sit through watching me reinforce the bracelet. After I reinforce it, I'll pop back on and I'll show you exactly how it looks and how it fits. But as you can see, I have the length basically that I need before I attach the other side of my clasp. And in order to do that with the clasp, I'm going to string on a size 11 seed bead. On my needle, one needle. I'm going to string on my wire guardian. I'm going to go up into the one hole and around the second hole of the guardian, and pull my thread down, taut but not choking. I'm going to pass my jump ring through that thread there and let it rest in the groove of the guardian, and I'm going to squeeze the guardian shut. Squeeze it shut. And then I'm going to continue by stringing on a size 11 seed bead. I'm going to pull this down so you can see where I am. In order for me to complete the connection, I need to pass my needle through the crystal, going back through it. and that is the connection. I'm going to reinforce this with my other needle just by going back through the connection. Pass my needle through the size 11, through the first hole, if I can catch it, the first hole of the wire guardian, through the jump ring, through the second hole, of the guardian, well, and the size 11 seed bead, and pull those, and then through this crystal going that way. Now, I don't see a reason that we have to continue to reinforce the connection, because the wire guardian is, that's what it does. It protects the threads and extends the life of your project. You may have to do other things if you to your metals. You may have to dip them in wax or something like that, or wipe them down with some type of metal protector to keep them from tarnishing or changing colors. But the bracelet itself at the connection is protected with that guardian. That's the reason why I love using them. So from here, you have a thread exiting the crystal out of each side. You don't need any more beads because your bracelet is done. We're moving things around, checking things around, and you don't want to have it so that it's not so that it won't maintain this shape. But we're gonna do this. We're gonna maintain this shape, and I am going to, as you have seen me do before, I'm going to reinforce this entire bracelet. I'm going to pass my thread through each of these bugle beads, crystals, bugles in the existing thread path, and I'm just going to do that all the way back down, and I'm going to use up as much thread as I possibly can, and I'm going to do it one unit at a time. So because I just want to make sure that there's no thread that is loose, or something that I could get caught. I don't want to I want to go one unit at a time so that I know that I have a good reinforcement. I don't know what a bad reinforcement is, except for you have threads tangled or knots or things like that, but so that you have at least 2 passes of thread going through your bugle beads and 4 passes of thread going through the crystals where you are crossing. Of course, I have a knot. So what you're going to do is the same thing I'm doing. You're going to continue moving in the direction of your lobster clasp, and you're going to try to use up as much of this thread as you possibly can in order to get the connection that you want. In order to get the reinforcement that you want for your project. And I will see you when I am done at the other end, and we'll tie knots together. I have completed my reinforcement, and now I'm back at the lobster clasp, the crystal right below my connection, and I crossed this one needle through the crystal, and I brought the other needle up just past the crystal on the left side. And what I'm going to do though is I'm going to pass my needle through this bugle bead here so that the threads can meet up, and I'm going to tie a knot there. I'm not doing half hitch knots right now. I'm not on this project because we've got these. I think I need to just tie these regular knots. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tie a knot here at this joint, just, you know, a regular overhand knot. And I'm gonna go through again, and this time when I pull my thread through, I'm gonna pull it through twice so it can sit up or just be a substantial knot. And once I pull those together, I'm just going to take my needle and pass it through this crystal, and this is the right needle that I was going that way with anyway. Pass my needle through the crystal and pull the threads together one more time, and then pull the knot right into that crystal. And we're going to do it again on the other side. I'm going to tie another knot right here at this joint. So just pass my thread, needle and thread, through this bugle bead, through this crystal, and this bugle bead, and pass my right thread again through this bugle bead, this crystal, and this bugle bead and crystal. And once I get there, we're going to do the same thing again. Tie a knot, and go again. This time we're going to go twice through this loop. One, I think I missed one, and two. Twice through this loop, and pull the thread and pass this thread down into this crystal, and make sure you have a tight knot there, and then you pull just to make sure that the knot is inside the crystal. And then you take your thread and you keep it moving. You keep it moving through the bugle, through this crystal. If I can pass through, I got a lot of thread going through there. You don't want to pop the crystals, because these, you don't want to pop any beads, but you also don't want your projects falling apart because you don't have enough thread to protect the thread from cutting. So I'm just going to keep going here. I'm going to pass through this bugle, down through this crystal, and this bugle, if I can get it. There you go. And there, right there, I'm going to stretch out. Ooh, there you go. You can hear the crystals as you're popping getting your shape back. And what I'm going to do is find my nippers and stretch the thread here. Oh, look at this. There you go. I didn't even pull it far enough. Stretch that thread there and just nip that right off. And the same thing with the other thread. Just going to pass the needle up through this bugle bead, back through this crystal, and down through this bugle, this crystal, if I can get it. Got a lot of thread in there. Nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to pull it down into, well, just down into the bugle bead. And that is it. I'm going to stretch that thread and nip it right there. There you have it. Diamond crystals bracelet. I hope you enjoyed this project. I hope you make this project, and I'd like to see you the next time I make a video. Thanks.